You think you have time. You think 60 is the new 40, or whatever they are selling you these days. You think that because you feel relatively well, because your mind is still sharp, and your life is finally settling into something you recognize, you have decades ahead of you, like a long, quiet road with no end in sight. You do not. My name is Evelyn. I am 85 years old. I have been alive long enough to bury my husband, my parents, a sister, and more friends than I can bring myself to count. And I am here to tell you that your 60s are not the beginning of your golden years. Your 60s are your last real window to prepare for everything that comes after. And everything that comes after is harder than anything you are imagining right now. I was a registered nurse for 35 years. I retired at 68, which means I spent my 60s watching my career wind down, helping my children through their own crises, and telling myself I was ready for what came next. I had savings, I had plans, I had a husband I loved deeply, and children who called regularly, and grandchildren who ran to the door when I arrived. I was not ready for any of it. I was not ready for my body to begin failing in ways I could not negotiate with. I was not ready for the loneliness that arrives when your friends start leaving faster than you can grieve each one. I was not ready for my husband of 58 years to collapse in the parking lot of a garden center on an ordinary Saturday morning while I was inside choosing tomato plants. This is not a video from someone who figured everything out. This is a video from someone who wishes she had been warned earlier. If you are in your 60s right now, consider this your warning. Lesson 1. Your body is changing in ways you cannot reverse, and strength must be built now while it can still be built. When I was 63, I could walk 4 miles and feel nothing afterward. I could carry my granddaughter on my back up a flight of stairs. I could kneel in the garden for an hour and stand up without help. I took every bit of that for granted. By 76, a 2-mile walk required planning. By 80, the stairs became something I thought about before attempting. The muscle you lose after 60 is nearly impossible to recover. The balance you relied on automatically now requires conscious attention. If you do not fight this actively, if you do not move and challenge your body while it can still respond, you will spend your 80s trapped inside a body that cannot keep up with your mind. Walk, lift something, stretch. Build the strength now because you are absolutely going to need it. Lesson 2. Your friends are going to start dying, and you need more of them than you currently think. I had a group of 4 women I had known since my late 20s. We called ourselves the Sunday Four because we met for breakfast every Sunday for nearly 3 decades. Helen, Patricia, Rose, and me. We raised our children in parallel. We held each other through illness, heartbreak, and the deaths of our parents. Helen died in 2011, Patricia in 2016, Rose in 2021. I am the only one left. I did not make new friends in my 60s because I thought I had enough. I did not understand that I would outlive them. Now I am 85 and most of the people who knew me when I was young, who remember what I sounded like when I laughed at 30, are gone. Make friends now. Younger friends, older friends, new friends. Cast the net wide because you genuinely do not know who will still be here in 20 years. The loneliness of outliving everyone you love is a weight I would not wish on anyone. Lesson 3. Have the hard conversations about death and money now, while everyone is still healthy enough to have them. When my mother was 87, a stroke left her unable to communicate. She lived another 2 years, and we had no idea what she would have wanted. Those 2 years were full of guesswork, disagreements between siblings, and decisions made in the dark. I swore I would not leave that burden for my children. And I almost did anyway, because these conversations feel morbid. They feel like you are inviting something terrible into the room. But death is coming whether you open the door or not. If you do not have these conversations while you can still have them, you are leaving the people who love you to figure it out in the worst moment of their lives. I finally sat down with my daughter Carolyn and my son David when I was 72. I should have done it at 62. Do not wait for a crisis. Have the conversation now. Lesson 4. Retirement will not save you. It will expose you. I spent the last years of my career dreaming about retirement. No more night shifts. No more emergencies at 3 a.m. I was going to read, travel, breathe. I retired at 68 and I fell apart quietly. For 35 years I had been Evelyn, the nurse. That was my purpose, my structure, my reason to get dressed in the morning. And suddenly I was just Evelyn, an older woman with nowhere particular to be and nothing particular expected of her. It took me almost 4 years to find solid ground again. 4 years before I discovered that I love painting, that I love reading to children at the local library, that I love long lunches with my daughter for no reason at all. But those 4 years were genuinely dark. If your job is your entire identity right now, you are heading toward a cliff. Build a life alongside your career before you need one. Figure out what you love that has nothing to do with a paycheck. Lesson 5. You have less time with your spouse than you think, and most of it will not look like the healthy, active years you are picturing. Raymond and I were married 58 years. That sounds like a long time. It is a long time. But when I look at it honestly, it breaks something in me. The first 20 years we were building and raising children and simply surviving the pace of it. The next 15 included a period where we nearly lost each other entirely, and then the slow work of finding our way back. It was not until our 50s that we had a truly good marriage. Of the years we had left after that, perhaps 10 were genuinely healthy and active. We traveled, we laughed, we had energy. Then Raymond's heart began to slow him down. Then I had my own health scares. The final years were about managing rather than living. I would give everything to have Raymond back in any condition. But I wish I had understood in my 60s that the window for adventure was already closing. Use the good years while you have them. Do not assume they are unlimited. Nobody's are. Lesson 6. Forgive everyone now because later you may not have the chance. My sister Helen and I stopped speaking when I was 69. A disagreement over our father's estate that felt enormous at the time. I was certain I was right. I was waiting for her to apologize first. Helen died at 81. We never spoke again. I will never hear her voice. I will never sit beside her and argue about something small and meaningless the way sisters do. 8 years of silence for pride, for the need to be right. If there is someone you love and are not speaking to, pick up the phone today. Not this week, today. Because people leave without waiting for the right moment, and they take your chance with them. Lesson 7. Your adult children do not need your advice. They need your presence. I had 35 years of medical experience. I had seen more than most people see in several lifetimes. When my children had problems, I knew things. I offered what I knew freely and often. They did not want my expertise. They wanted their mother. They wanted me to sit at their tables and hold their babies and ask about their lives without immediately trying to fix what I heard. Every time I gave advice that was not asked for, I was quietly telling them I did not trust them. It took me until my mid-70s to learn to simply listen. By then, I had damaged my relationship with David badly enough that we lost years we cannot recover. Love them while they figure it out. That is the only thing they actually need from you. Lesson 8. Write things down because you will forget more than you expect. I have 9 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. I keep a list of their birthdays in my nightstand because I can no longer hold all of them in my head reliably. I cannot always remember conversations from last week. This is not illness. This is simply what happens to every mind that lives long enough. Write down your memories. Write down the stories that only you carry. Write down how your mother's kitchen smelled, what your father said that one time that you have never forgotten, what you looked like at 30. I started a journal at 76. I wish I had started at 60. There are things I have lost that existed only in my memory and are simply gone now. Do not let that happen to you. Lesson 9. You are going to be frightened, and courage is doing it anyway. I was terrified of aging, terrified of losing Raymond, terrified of being sick, being dependent, being alone. I spent my 60s avoiding those thoughts, as though not looking directly at something could stop it from arriving. It arrived anyway. Raymond died. My health changed. I live with my daughter now because living alone is no longer something my body allows. Every fear I carried came true. And I am still here. I still laugh at my granddaughter's sense of humor. I still look forward to my morning coffee. I still feel things deeply. The fears did not destroy me. They changed me, but I survived every single one of them. You cannot avoid what is coming, but you can face it rather than deny it. And when it arrives, you may discover you are considerably stronger than you believed. Lesson 10, and this is the one I most need you to hear. The last 30 years go faster than the first 60. I blinked and I was 70. I blinked and Raymond was gone and I was 79. I blinked and I was 85, sitting in my daughter's living room talking to a camera, hoping someone out there hears me before it is too late. When you are young, time moves slowly because everything is unfamiliar. When you are old, time accelerates because you have seen the seasons before. The years begin to collapse into each other. You wake up one morning and a decade has passed and you cannot fully account for it. Pay attention to your 60s. Pay attention to your 70s. Pay attention to every ordinary day because it is moving faster than you feel it moving, and you cannot slow it down, and you cannot retrieve a single moment of it. Raymond died 6 years ago, 58 years together. Gone in the time it took me to choose between 2 varieties of tomato. I talk to him every night before I sleep. I tell him about the grandchildren. I tell him I miss him in a way that has no bottom to it. He does not answer. But I keep talking because that is what love becomes eventually. A conversation with someone who is no longer there. If I could sit across from the woman I was at 62, the woman who thought she had all the time in the world, I would take her hands and I would say, "It goes faster than you can possibly imagine. So be present. Say I love you. Take the trip. Make the call. Forgive before it is too late. Because one day you will be 85, sitting alone in a quiet room, hoping that somewhere out there, someone hears you in time." Do not waste your 60s. You still have time, but not as much as you think. If this reached you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And leave me a comment below. I read every single one, and they mean more to me than you know. This is The Final Hours. Subscribe if these conversations matter to you. Take good care of yourself today.